and that all the stuff we put on socials is actually true. It's not just a front, it's actually how we operate. Most people are ready to join the team at that point, right? One thing we train technicians all the time is to have a why me state. Like, why should they choose you as a technician to be in their home? Having passion and liking where you work is a big part of that why me state. But when you can create that passion to where a lot of people believe that High Five is the place where you're going to become the best technician. But we do have like a documented apprentice program. I can hire anybody in plumbing from zero knowledge to a master, and there's a spot for them in any way, shape, or form, because there's a lot of places where we could install somebody and paint the picture for them to grow to where they want to be. And so that's really what's allowed us to, like I said, grow, is we can put anybody in any aspect of their plumbing career. And then because we're confident in our training program and getting them to where we need, we know that they'll get to where we want them to.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of our show partners, UpFrog.
UpFrog is the OG when it comes to pricing transparency online. They find system replacement leads through paid ads and have developed an entire system to drive those hard-to-find system replacement opportunities, nurture the leads, and book them into sold systems before your team arrives to help you grow your business.
Hey, I'm Krista with MarketStorm, and we work with home service companies across the country. Quick question. If another HVAC or plumbing company in your area starts influencing homeowners before they ever hit Google, who gets the first call? By the time someone searches plumber near me, they've already been researching the problem. We use AI to detect those early intent signals and put your brand in front of them. So when they do search, your name already feels familiar. Visit marketstorm.ai or text us at 213-575-5448.
Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a great day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Master podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tersh Blissett, sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. And we have the world famous Levi Torres. Torres. Okay.
Must not be that famous.
Well, I know. And Levi, High Five Plumbing, HVAC, and Electrical. That might be where you may have heard of him before, especially if you're on TikTok and any of the social media platforms and you watch any shorts. You've definitely probably come across High Five. If nothing else, the branding. We're going to talk today about branding and recruitment and those sorts of strategies and things. And a lot of that comes from consistency on social media. And we've had a couple like really killer posts on social media, but we haven't been consistent. You know what I mean? And so it's great to see that one post go viral. But if that's the only post you have out there, then it's like, all right, they're looking for more, or, you need to keep going, keep putting it out there consistently. And that's one of the things with the podcast. People ask us, like, they're thinking about starting a podcast and want to know where to get started. And they want to know, like, how do you have such a large following? And it's like, because there was 3 or 4 years there that we had no following, or maybe 2 years there where we had little to no following, but we just stuck with it and stayed consistent. Now it's paying off. So with that being said, Josh, did you want to add anything before I ask Levi any questions?
Yeah, I'll probably add more throughout the episode because I've had we talked just real briefly before the show, but some similar experiences to getting consistent with content and stuff. So I'm interested in hearing from you, Levi, on what that has looked like for your company over the years, and then I'll probably add some thoughts into how it's helped us as well.
You want to get started, Levi? Share your story, how you got into doing what you're doing, and is High Five the original brand of the company when you started?
Yeah. So my story, right? I've been in plumbing my entire life. I grew up in a second generation plumber. My dad still owns and operates a plumbing company in Southern Colorado to this day.
Now, is he a competitor of yours?
Oh no, he's about 5 hours south of me, so he's not in my market. And so I grew up in the trades, right? Been in it my whole life. I've only worked outside of the trades 3 weeks out of my whole life. I've been in the trades, right? And so
what did you do for those 3 weeks?
I worked at Target for 2 weeks and Abercrombie and Fitch for a week. Neither one of those panned out very well.
Trying something else and like, hell no, this isn't for me.
You talk about a headache, man. We're going into Abercrombie and Fitch all day, every day.
Yeah,
going to retail is definitely a different type of headache.
Right. So I've definitely grown up in the trades, right? Like I said, I've been in it for most of my life. In 2010, we elected to move from the small town that my dad operates in and move up to the Denver metro area. And I started working for one of the biggest progressive companies in the country at the time. It was my first real introduction to service, right? Service plumbing. I mostly did new construction and a little bit of service here and there, but it was my first introduction into service. And
how was that transition?
It wasn't a big deal for me because I was a people person. And I think if you're able to hold a conversation, then service is going to be second nature a little bit, right? So I wasn't.
Gosh, that's why you look at service things.
I wasn't very good at the whole just being on one job site. Like that really wasn't what I loved. Right. So the service model was a huge awakening for me. And so I worked for that company for about 2 years, became one of their top technicians, was doing a great job. And naturally it came down to I requested a couple days off 30 days down the road, and they told me they weren't going to give them to me because I didn't have any PTO. So I quit, right? So I quit my job because they weren't going to give me the days off.
Well, now I will definitely have days off.
Exactly. And so it really was that type of thing. And now it was kind of well, let me go try to find a job. I went and applied at a lot of places here in town, and I very quickly found out that nobody was going to pay me or give me the benefits that this place was giving me, right? Like anywhere I was going was going to be a downgrade in pay, benefits, schedule, all of it. And so I had to make the decision of either going backwards, which I felt at that time in my career, or starting my own business. And so me and my wife sat down. We decided to create a plumbing business. We were sitting down and we were thinking of names, and we still don't even remember the name, but my wife said a name and I said, "Oh, that's a good one." And we reached across the table and high-fived, and we were like, wait a minute, High Five Plumbing, every call ends with a high five. And so the name, we never wanted it to be tied to us. Like I always had a vision of making it bigger than me. And I knew that if I made it Levi's Plumbing or Levi Torres' Plumbing, then it was going to be hard for me to ever not be the face of it. So we started with High Five Plumbing right away. But I went back to what I was comfortable with, and that was new construction and remodel, right? Because that was most of my career. So from 2012 to the end of 2015, we were mostly new construction remodel. So we had a couple leads and a bunch of apprentices, doing a ton of work. And then naturally, the end of 2015, our accounts receivable was a little bit out of control. There was a ton of money out there that people owed us for work we'd done. And so the end of 2015 was just a nightmare of just collecting money, right? I literally felt like I was breaking thumbs out on the dock trying to collect money, right? And so the beginning of 2016, I kind of just said, I got to do something different. Reached out, got some business coaches at the time, and we ended up switching to the service model at that point. One of the best decisions we've ever made in business was switching to the service model because we really didn't experience much growth from 2012 to 2016. But man, from 2016 to now has been just tremendous, crazy growth in the service industry.
Well, let me ask you this. That time period from 2012 to 2016, how did you continue to stay motivated without having growth? Or were you okay with not growing? Or was it a goal to grow?
Right. So a big part of High Five's brand, right, and how I got a lot of my branding experience was the first 3 years of business, High Five wasn't my main focus. I was in multi-level marketing, and I was making money in that. So I was doing them simultaneously. So the big picture for me was in my multi-level marketing company where I was making decent money, and I was just using the High Five Plumbing to supplement income, right? It wasn't until 2015 when I started to put full focus on plumbing. And that's why in 2015, when we started to grow a ton, my accounts receivable got out of control because we started doing a ton of work that year. And then that's when I realized I don't like having all this money that people owe me. And I'm not going to do this again. And so that's right. Once we put focus on growing the plumbing business in 2015, so I would say from 2012 to 2015, I was preoccupied mentally with a different business venture.
Are you still doing the MLM?
No, I stopped in 2015 because the amount of money I would make by putting the time into the plumbing business would have just made way more sense at the time.
Yeah, that we're all guilty of that, the shiny object syndrome, that type of thing, especially if it's something. You sound a lot like me, and the fact that started TriStar in 2014. Yeah, along the way, I would focus on other things and then not focus on that company, and then thankfully, I had a business partner who was really focused on the growth, because that company is a weird company. It actually supported his construction company as well, his turns and flips company. So he needed it to stay afloat more so than I did. But I was guilty of, chasing shiny objects. A friend of mine, Steve Adario, he's told me this multiple times. Where you focus is where you'll grow. It's true. Like 2 years ago, might have been 3 years. I think it's about 2 years ago was when I decided that I was going to hyper focus on growing the podcast. And I knew that my other service business, Service Emperor, I wasn't going to focus on it. And I made a conscious effort, like, hey, everybody, I'm not focusing on this, not in a negative way, but I want y'all to know that I'm not focusing on this. I'm focusing on the podcast. If you need me, I'm here, but this is my focus. And Service Emperor hasn't grown since then. And it's been in that same stage, and the podcast has grown. So to what you're saying, yes, absolutely. 100% true. We need to be careful as business owners to not try and chase the shiny object. And Josh and I were talking about this morning in our morning huddle. And if technicians and business owners put forth the same amount of effort in growing as a technician, growing as a business owner, as they do in trying to find money or get rich quick schemes, we wouldn't have problems that we're having now. We would, if you focused on customer service, if you focused on knowing your numbers, you focused on growing as a person, we wouldn't have the issues that we have. Our podcast wouldn't be a podcast because we wouldn't need to be interviewing people to give advice and experience on things. So I appreciate your confirmation bias for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it was great. We were making money, but it was just a distraction, right? Once we did start to focus on plumbing, the plumbing exploded, right? It started to do what we wanted it to. It just happened to be not in the right model, right? And so I very quickly realized I didn't want to go that model. And when we switched to service, it was just night and day, right? As far as what we were able to do as a company. But that's where I did learn a lot of my branding, right? Because when you were in multi-level marketing, like you have to build a team underneath you. And if you can't do that, if you can't recruit and you can't get people to follow you, then you're never going to have success. And so I brought a lot of those principles and things I learned in multi-level marketing straight to building the plumbing company, which allowed me to, our blue and yellow, or it's like our team colors, right? Everybody wears them.
Did you research like color branding or anything like that before you did decide that?
So it's cool. So my brother's a graphic designer. And so when I created the logo, I called him and I said, hey man, this is the name of the company. I want it to be a happy logo. Like that was literally what I told him. I want it to feel happy. And the first draft he came back to me was exactly the logo you see today. And so it was that spot on.
That's pretty wild.
It was the blue and yellow just fit perfect. It's happy colors together. It enlightens people, and it's a positive motion, right? We literally end every service call with a high five. We have thousands and thousands of selfies of our technicians high-fiving customers, because that's what we do when we leave the job. We take a selfie high-fiving the customer.
So when you went to service and you started doing the service calls, was it always like that was literally the thing right away, is like we're end it with a high five, and then of course trying to figure out like how to also promote that brand. I'm assuming that part probably came maybe not immediately, or maybe it did.
Yeah, with the name, we realized how powerful the name was, and it was because it wasn't until 2015 when we started to focus on the plumbing. But I remember I was walking through a supply house one day, and there was a customer in there, and he was kind of just down a little bit. He was looking for some parts. And so I helped him find the parts, and I said, well, there you go, man, high five. And I high-fived him, and has just a huge smile on his face when I high-fived him. And so then I started to test it, right? At just cash registers, gas stations, just started high-fiving people, and it literally changed their entire body language, right? It would take somebody from upset to smiling. They would be happy about it. And so, man, when we saw the power of what just a simple high five would do to anybody, we started implementing it right away. So we're high-fiving our customers all the time. In the office, there's high fives everywhere, because it's a positive impact that's transferring positive energy when you touch. And so it's really cool.
Now, what did you do 2020, 2021 when it was usually no contact?
So we had a virtual high five. So we would just take our selfie, and we would just have the customer stand 6 feet back, and they would just line it up, right? But we got through it. We had masks on. That's really the only difference. But we kept pushing the high fives. We didn't change the concept. We changed our messaging a little bit to say, hey, we may not be giving you a physical high five, but we're still going to be giving you the high five service, right? Like making sure that we still went with that messaging, because that was a little bit of a challenge for us to like, dang, how are you going to message this when nobody wants to touch now? But that was a big part of our branding, and it's still to this day. Like it's actually one of our key performance indicators that we track is how many high five pictures did you get in a day?
Really?
Yeah.
Now, have you had pushback from technicians that got hired on and they're like, not my cup of tea?
Well, you would think yes, but the truth is like when you come to high five, before you even sit down and interview, you get a 15-minute tour of the property, right? So you learn about our volunteer programs, you learn about the training schedules, you learn about everything before you even sit down to interview. So there has been a couple times where by the time they get through the tour, they say, this isn't for me. And we say, cool, thanks, have a good day, right?
Do you ever take that personal?
No, because I know that they probably wouldn't have been here in 30 days anyways, because when your manager's coming up to you and saying, hey, why didn't you get a high five picture? Why didn't you get a high five picture? Eventually, they're just going to get tired of it and leave anyways, right? So we do the tour first, so that way they see the expectations of what it's going to be like working at high five. And then if you're all for it, then let's have a conversation.
I love that you built that all around something simple that we probably do, like literally after, I don't know why I give her a high five, my trainer after the gym, which I went, that was right before this. I give her a high five even after she kicked my ass. Like today was leg day and I freaking hated it. But I give her a high five after every workout. And it's just like, it's just like the thing that we just do, but it just makes you feel better. I don't know what it is. It's just like a psychological thing. I'm going to stop giving her high fives now though.
She's going to be making you work harder.
I'm literally like walking. I'm like, literally I was doing, we always end with core and my legs were like visibly shaking. I'm like, why am I giving this lady a high five? She's hurting me on purpose and I'm paying her to do it.
I gotta tell you this story. Last year before last, I was at the gym and Memphis wanted to go.
Wait, you were at the gym?
Shut your mouth. I was at the gym and Memphis wanted to go with us, and so we were there, and I was showing him how to do squats or lunges. That's what it was, lunges. So I was doing them really slow, and I had like 35-pound dumbbells on each hand. I was doing real slow just so he could see me do it. Well, we went to the Ford dealership to drop off the truck right after that, and I went to get out of the truck and I just hit the ground because my leg wouldn't hold me. I was like, what in the hell? That's never happened before. But it was because I did it so slow and I was paying such close attention to the muscles. Oh, I'm not doing that nonsense again.
Yeah, I definitely high five after that one, right?
So obviously you saw you did some research, you saw how this was catching on, like it was becoming a thing. When did you start really focusing on crafting and creating social media content, be more intentional about putting that out there and putting the branding out there?
Yeah. So with social media, right? Like, so once we switched to service in 2016 and 2017 were kind of just learning years, right? We didn't really know exactly what we were doing. I was trying to switch over managers from construction to service, right? It didn't work. And then in 2018, we brought on actual people who managed service in the past, right? Started bringing on service focused managers. And that's when we really started to focus on social medias. And in the beginning time of social media, we were very much trying to create leads from it, right? Like $25 off or $100 off a water heater, or this is your water, like trying to generate leads. And you would get a couple likes here and there from the people who know and like you, right? But it was never getting any kind of engagement. And it wasn't until the end of 2018 when we started to say, like, listen, we're going to post something every day on every social media platform. Right. And there's not enough plumbing content to do that sometimes. So that's when we started to say, okay, well, we got to get photo releases of our high five customers so we can post pictures of high fiving customers. Right. So we started getting photo releases and we started posting high fives of customers. We started just posting training videos of us doing our trainings. Right. We started posting people putting their hand on the high five wall as they joined the team. And then we started to get engagement. Right. Then we started to get people liking it. And then before you know it, you'd get 5, 6, 7 random people who you don't even know who would share it. right? And that's when we really started to say, like, let's just treat it as reality TV. Like, I really want what's on our social media. I want somebody to be able to go scroll through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and get a feel of what it would be like to be in the walls working with High Five, right? Because one of the biggest things that people say they struggle with is hiring people. And I can honestly say that that's never been a problem for High Five. We've never, ever not been able to hire somebody when we've needed them. It's been hey, we need a technician. In a week, we have a technician. If we need a dispatcher, we just, when we need them, we can get them. And I think it's a lot of because people can go look and find out a lot about High Five, right? Like, you can get a good feel about what High Five, how we portray ourselves to the public by just doing a quick search. But when people then get here for the interview and they see the tour and they see that we actually do what we say and that all the stuff we put on socials is actually true, it's not just a front, it's actually how we operate. Most people are ready to join the team at that point, right? So socials is really huge for recruiting for us because we can confidently send them there and say, listen, if you don't like what you see on our socials and the get-togethers and the trainings and the KPIs and what we expect, then it's probably, once again, wouldn't be a good fit anyways, right?
That's it's funny. We just hired for a head of SEO position, which was kind of like one of my last remaining seats as I'm trying to do the replacement ladder and get out of certain seats and stuff. And I vividly remember, so the guy we ended up hiring, he said on his interview, because he had done research on us, and I've noticed a lot of candidates do, and they're like, man, you guys put out a ton of content. There's so much good positive brand awareness around your online presence. And he's like, I've been excited for this interview for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it's
What a letdown.
But it's wild because I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff I create isn't, because we're remote, so it's a little different, right? Like, we don't have like the office and some of the things that you can do there, but a lot of it's just helping people and putting out useful content that maybe a little bit of humor once in a while, or maybe me being just direct and passionate, which I've been known to do once in a while. But
once in
a while,
you're always gonna get a sticker.
It's like, where's the censor button out over?
But it's wild, to your point, Levi. Like, you don't really go in with the intention of that, but it just snowballs and it becomes this thing. It's like, I had a realization, because I had done content when I started Relentless, because I had time on my hands. I had a couple clients. I didn't know what else to do, and I didn't have any money to spend. So I'm like, I'm just going to create videos and try to help people. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to help people. And that worked out and kind of helped grow the business a little bit. Then I got away from it, because you're training, you're bringing on new people, and you're doing all the things, and it gets hard. In the last 6 months, I hired a video editor. Like, I'm literally every week is videos, something, and have with some content creation ideas and stuff like that. The quality of leads is better. People legitimately ask us to work here. Like, even if we don't have a position, do you guys have anything open? I've had that several times. I'm like, no, but thank you for reaching out. What are your skills? Let me see if I can find something for you. And everything becomes, the sales process becomes easier. People they want to work with the people they see and the people they like and the people they engage with. And I'm sure you guys probably get that too with some of your, especially when you go into system replacements and some of the things that people see, and then they experience them. Like, this company just makes me feel good.
Yep.
And that feeling translates into sales, which of course isn't the main reason you do it. It's a byproduct of putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, showing what it's like, what's a day in the life of High Five Plumbing.
Do you think it's affected your clients, the closing rate?
I would say 100%. With us, the biggest thing is, one thing we train technicians all the time is to have a why me statement, right? Like why should they choose you as a technician to be in their home? And having passion and liking where you work is a big part of that why me statement, right? And if they just like being plumbers, but it's not so much at High Five, or if they like being HVAC or electricians and it's not at High Five, well, then they're not going to have that passion to the client. But when you can create that passion to where a lot of people believe that High Five is the place where you're going to become the best technician, right? And when you can get that type of people to put into their why me statement, that part of the reason why I'm successful is because of High Five. It 100% get the people to understand that, okay, this is a guy who believes in his company. He's not just here to make money. It's because the company is here. And so
he's not there for a paycheck.
Yeah. That's
necessarily. Now, how long do you think it takes to get that buy-in? On average?
It just depends, right? Like, for example, like we'll have somebody who will start and they won't start hitting KPIs on high five pictures for the first 30 days. Just it's something new, it's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we'll have somebody who comes in and they'll go 100% high five pictures the first week. And that's because they were excited about that. That's something they were searching for. The cool thing about it is the things that we do are things that we train, right? Like if you don't know how to ask somebody for a high five picture, I promise you will in the first couple of weeks, right? So
I remember when I first started out. Now this has been many moons ago now, but I remember being very nervous because I was like, "Great, I got to memorize the colors of these wires, what they go to." Like I'm learning this side, and then at the same time, I'm being told, "All right, you knock on the door and take 2 steps back. Wear your shoe covers, put this thing down on the floor." And I'm like, "Oh man, something else to remember."
So could be a whole nother conversation, but we do have like a documented apprentice program, right?
Okay.
So like I can hire anybody in plumbing who from zero knowledge to a master, and there's a spot for them in any way, shape, or form because we have install teams, we have field apprentices, we have drain cleaners. Like there's a lot of places where we could install somebody. So part of what's allowed us to grow as well is that when we interview somebody, it's an evaluation process, right? I'm deciding where is this person's skill set going to be able to plug in and get us production.
Do they ever
Right.
take offense to you? Like, do you ever score them lower than what they think they should be in their head?
I mean, it's not about how you score them, it's about how you present the score.
Okay. All right.
Because everybody, they can agree with my score or not. It's about how I present where I believe they should be and paint the picture for them to grow to where they want to be. And that's what's cool about our program is if you want to be a master plumber someday, but you're not there yet, there's still a spot for you at high five, but you can't sit with the master plumbers yet. Like it's just what it is, right? We can get you there. We can get you to that table, but you're not at that table yet.
Gotcha.
And so that's really what's allowed us to, like I said, grow is we can put anybody in any aspect of their plumbing career. And then because we're confident in our training program and getting them to where we need, we know that they'll get to where we want them to. So I would say it's usually about a solid 30-day period for buy-in, right? At 30 days, they've kicked the tires, they've poked the bear to see like, is this true? Are these guys really trying to make me better? Or are they like everywhere else? By that point, they now see like how we portray ourselves is the truth, right? Like you could go look at social media and all the stuff that it looks like is the truth. We do have that much fun.
Gotcha.
We do have that type of culture. Our team does like each other that much, but we still produce and make sure we break records every month as well.
Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free.
Quick question. How many calls did you miss last month? Not how many you answered, how many did you miss? Across the home services industry, about 30% of inbound calls go unanswered. And those aren't just tire kickers, those are customers ready to give their business to whoever books first. Breezy fixes that with AI agents that answer every call, they book the jobs for you, and they follow up instantly. So instead of waking up to missed calls, wake up to book jobs. If you want to see how many jobs you're losing right now, go to getbreezyapp.com, use code SBM, and they'll give you $500 towards Breezy on us. Now back to the episode.
How do you do the breaking records and doing all of the production side of things without it seeming like we're just trying to get numbers? And then the second thing is what are you using to train? Are you using like a Tranual or where are you housing? Okay.
That's exactly what and the reason why it's easy to do that is because we are 100% systematized. So I have a system of operation book for every position in my company, right? So if you get hired as a drain tech, here's exactly what you have to do. It's in Tranual, it's a handbook, there's quizzes, there's videos, there's pictures, right?
How often do you have to update that?
Sorry, what was that?
No,
Josh,
go ahead.
Let me find the mute button for Josh. How often do you have to update that?
So this is a more of an operational thing, right? I never update it.
Okay.
And it's because what I do is we have one-to-one meetings with every person. So like every person in the company has a one-to-one with their manager every 2 weeks. And
That's
everybody, it is, once again, but this is where you eliminate gray area. If you can eliminate gray area, then it's the system that's holding them accountable. It's not me.
Yeah, so it takes the emotion out of it.
Exactly.
There's
So
no
it's
more
like
feelings. It's like yes or no, yes or no.
like, and if you agree with this, if you don't recommend any changes to this system, then don't get mad at me when I tell you to follow it, right? Like, so we're so systematized. So every 2 weeks as they meet with these employees, we have what we call a project board. That manager will go put 3 or 4 different systems and tell that person, do me a favor and review these systems and make sure they're accurate and recommend any edits. So now every 2 weeks, we have different members of the team reviewing all the content in Trainual and then suggesting any edits that they think would make it better. And then what that also does now is it gets them buy-in, right? I'm giving them their chance to change the system right now. If there's any way that they want this to be done different, then they got to voice their opinion now, because if they don't, then they just agreed to do it the way we said. And so that's how we've been able to walk that fine line, because I'm not the person getting mad at them. There was a system, it's documented, it's been there. It's not like we just created it. So that's how now I can be a little bit more stern with production, because there's a system. And we do use Trainual as our main hub, right? So because our apprentice program, we also work with Skill Mill, Interplay Learning. We use that for them all the way until they get to becoming a technician. So yeah, but we
still use training. I mean, do you still use Interplay Learning after they've been a technician?
We use that Interplay Learning until they get to their license. Once they get to their first level of licenses, then at that point, all the learning would be hands-on.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like that.
But yeah, we've been using Interplay for a good solid 5 years. We've been running our apprentice program for 4 years now. We've brought 7 plumbers through the program from zero knowledge all the way to licensed, and they're our most consistent across all KPIs plumbers. So Interplay Skill Mill has been great for us. And then Trainual, like I said, we put everything in Trainual. We have videos, quizzes. You can read it. You can watch a video. We put it all in Trainual.
That's cool. Question for you, Levi. So you started as plumbing. Mm-hmm. That's what you've known your whole life. As companies grow, there's a couple ways to grow. You grow in new markets with the same trade, or you add trades. And you decided to add trades. What did that look like for you? You know, you start having this culture, this brand that's kind of taken off, and now you decide you want to add more headache. Yeah. So and learn something completely new. What did that look like for you? Like what did you, how much time was it a rash decision? Did you think through it? Like what did that look like? Because I know there's probably people that listen to the podcast that they've all probably considered it. I mean, I've considered for my business. Tersh has got businesses with multiple trades and stuff like that, and it's different for everybody. But it definitely is. It's a way bigger undertaking than people give it. It's like, oh, let's just add it. We'll just. But there's if you want to do it well, there's a whole different way of doing it. I'm just curious your take on that.
Once again, I was perfectly fine with plumbing, right? There's some big companies here in Denver that I'm still chasing after, right? That I want to get to. So I could have kept doing plumbing for as long as I needed to and kept growing. We were still growing at, I mean, even this year, we're growing at 67% this year as a company. And even the plumbing alone is still growing at 25. So the plumbing could have kept growing, but the only reason why I wanted to get to 10 million in plumbing only before I added other trades.
Did you do that?
So we would have hit it this year. Okay. So like at the end of this year, plumbing alone would have got to 10 million. It was more of I had the perfect who, right? So I always knew when I started these trades, I didn't want to have to go get the knowledge. Like I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to bring somebody on who saw the vision of High Five and saw what we were trying to do and wanted to come on board. And so I was going to wait till 2025 to start HVAC, but the perfect who came about. And so that's what rushed it to 2024. So we rolled out HVAC. I had a conversation with this person in January, letting me know that he was getting ready to either start his own thing or move to a new spot. So that's why we decided to roll out HVAC in April of this year.
In Denver, does the person who carries the license have to have ownership in the company?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's how it is in Georgia too. I know some states you have to bring them in as a partner or something like that. And it gets kind of
So not in
complicated.
Colorado. So I was able to get it all set up. And now, yes, it's normally a pretty big undertaking. Now I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to jinx ourselves, but it's been easier than I thought. And I think it's because of how many systems we already had in place, right? So when we now hired HVAC guys, it was literally just a matter of changing the word plumbing to HVAC in all of our systems. So like when
Did you hear anything like, that won't work for HVAC?
all the time.
Yeah.
And it just,
Okay.
and there was some systems
I'm not
that
the only
we had
one.
to edit.
Yeah.
But the truth is there was still a way we wanted it to get done. So whether that way wouldn't work for HVAC, there was a way that we wanted it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole first month that we had the HVAC division, we really weren't marketing yet. I brought the guy on for the first month to just make sure that all of our systems would just be ready to go. So that way in April, when we started bringing on techs, we had an onboarding process, we had training. And so that's why I want to say I feel like it's been easier than other people have experienced because I already had all the systems. It was just a matter of changing the wording to match what now electrical or HVAC. And so it's been a little bit easier, right? So like we added HVAC. HVAC came out the gates crushing it. HVAC is going to do probably just under 3 million this year.
And you just started it this year?
Yeah, we just started it in April. And then thank you. It was cool, right? But it was expected. We expected it to come out the gates crushing it, right? We were able to handpick technicians because we had only been offering plumbing. So the second we now opened it up to HVAC techs, all the good techs that had been seeing what we've been doing in the market, now we were able to handpick some of the guys that we knew wanted to be at high five, right? And we knew they were good. And so HVAC came out the gate just crushing it, right? And so it then got to the point where we weren't planning on starting electrical until second quarter of 2025. But now we started keeping our electrical contractors so busy with furnace replacements that we then hired an electrician to do our furnace installs, right? And then that snowballed to where now electrical is going to do just under probably 2 million this year.
Wow.
Damn.
So yeah, we
You
now have
undertook 2 new trades in 1 year.
exactly right. And once
One
again,
for punishment.
it's all been seamless because I did not have to create any additional systems. Like I truly did not have to do anything but edit from plumbing to electrical, plumbing to HVAC.
What I hear you say is that if you don't work on systems regularly, get off your ass and work on systems because it makes everything that much easier.
100%. Like that's
What do you say to people who, because I had this experience, that they didn't want to be, what was the exact wording? I might not use the exact wording, but they didn't want to be treated like robots, or they didn't want to sound like robots because there's too many systems and places. I was like, well, that just sounds like you don't want to do anything.
Sounds like an excuse.
It's an excuse, right? And the truth is like most systems, like if you truly look at systems in a business, most systems have leniency.
Yeah.
Right. Like the only thing that doesn't is a script, right? So like if you're a call taker, well then cool. We want you to sound that way for a reason.
Sure.
But like most of our systems, like how to request materials, how to turn in your dirty laundry, how to turn in payments, there's not really a robot to that. That's just where to
consistency,
how to be successful, right? And like if you follow these systems, and that's what's cool is like we're able to tell people when they come here that I can guarantee you, if you follow these systems, you'll be successful at I-5. Like it's a guaranteed. If you come in and learn these 30 systems or these whatever your position has, you will be successful. Like because if you just get these off of memory, then you'll be doing so many things good for high five that you'll never get in trouble with your manager. You'll start to eliminate some of those blockers, right? Like guys walk in the morning and they're not wearing the right uniform. Well, that's a mindset thing because now your manager, the first thing he's going to tell you is, hey man, why aren't you wearing a baseball jersey?
Yeah.
So now instead of worrying about, do I have the right parts on my truck? You're worried about, is my manager going to call me out for not wearing the right uniform, right? So systems just create a
saying that does that add more mental load on a technician because they're worried about their inventory, but also worried about making sure that they're following the other systems properly.
And once again, if there wasn't some leniency, now let's just take uniforms, for example, right? All of our technicians have to wear baseball jerseys in the field. but they get 3 different color types to wear. They could wear black, pinstripe, or gray.
What do you say about the ones that they're like, oh, I get dirty? Like I have some plumbers and they're like, I go through 6 shirts a day. Like I did the same plumbing job and I was wearing a 3-piece suit. Like I get it. There's some of them that are dirty jobs, but then there's other times where it's like you're just rolling around in mud for no reason.
Yeah. Once again, you just set the standard of cool, man. Then you'll just have to wear a dirty shirt the rest of the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's how you handle it. That's
it's just
basically
like,
how I've handled it. But it's like,
but for example, with uniforms, like I'm not asking them to only wear one uniform.
yeah,
You can wear any 3 of the colors. I don't care, but wear one of them. Right. And the same thing with our hats. Like you have to wear a branded high five hat, but we have 23 different hat styles. So like you can't complain about not having the style you like or the color because there's so many options. So when you create a system, but the system has options, just like we want our technicians to give 3 to 5 options on every job, we kind of got to do the same thing as a business. Like when somebody comes to work for us, there's 5 different shifts you can choose from to work at I5.
really?
What does that look like?
So there's Monday through Friday. You can start at 7 or you can start at 9 or you can start at 11. Or there's Tuesday through Saturday. You can start it at 9 or 11 on Tuesday through Saturday.
So you run regular rates and stuff like that on Saturday, I'm assuming then.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sunday would be the day that you don't run anything. Do you run after hours?
Well, we don't run anything on Sundays. We have what we call a volunteer shift for Sundays. Because, like we are a performance-based company. So like there's some guys who may just be a couple hundred from hitting their bonus for the week. They'll volunteer to go run a call on Sunday then to try to get to their numbers. But it's still standard rate. We charge flat rate. It never changes regardless of the
Do you think that helps with customer acquisition? Like, because there's obviously there's a whole thing like, back when Tersh was in his heyday with the companies he either ran or owned. And then when I got my start in the HVAC industry, like we would put out job ads promoting overtime because people wanted it.
Yeah.
And now it's not that way. It's totally different than it used to be. So there's like thoughts of like some people like, nope, it's 8 to 5. You call after 5, you're waiting until tomorrow. But for me, from a marketing and like a customer acquisition side, knowing that we usually focus on email and always reaching out to customers. Like they never forget that we exist. I'm like, man, just getting that customer in the door one time, we're probably going to get, even if we don't get a lot on the first job, it's just a quick capacitor change out or something, or a quick fix. We will get the later, especially with 3 trades, you can cross promote to other things. So it's interesting. When did you start the split shift and
how large were you?
Once again, like I had big visions. So I started from day one, right? So I started offering right away. That's like, so from day one, when I was doing all the stuff, I was still offering a Tuesday through Saturday. I just committed to going in on Saturdays. Like that was what I committed as the owner of the company, because I knew that eventually I had to offer this because I couldn't pay as good as some of the big places. I couldn't offer near the bonuses. I couldn't offer some of that stuff. I didn't have new trucks yet. So like I had to do something to get some of these true service guys to come to me. And that's what I could do, was start offering these multiple shifts. And so since 2016, we've been offering multiple shifts, Tuesday through Saturday, Monday through Friday. And what that allowed us to do now is eliminate on call, right? So now I have a technician who starts at 11 in the morning and works till 8 at night. And then I have another technician coming in at 8 the next morning. So usually anything that comes in those times, you can push to that 8 o'clock appointment the next morning. And so now I can, when I'm recruiting, I can advertise for no on call, right? And
now whenever when you're doing that, how strict are you that the 11 o'clock person arrives at 11 o'clock? I feel like the tendency would be, oh, well, they don't really need me right now. Let's just mosey on in here at 11:15, 11:30, 12 o'clock.
So, but that's going to be different with culture of business, right? Now, our culture is we have 3 days of training a week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays is training. So you have to be at the shop on time for training. And then,
so does the training time differ for the people that start at 11?
We do 3 trainings a day.
Okay.
Wow.
Once again, but the cool thing about it is we rotate managers, right? So it's not like it's one manager. So now one manager will do the same training, then the next manager would do the same training. So now you're giving your managers a chance to get up in front of people and talk and get that aspect. And now you can kind of grade them and say, well, damn, he killed the 11 o'clock meeting. He needs to be talking in front of people more. Right. And so I love the fact that we do it, but every day we do 3 different trainings for people now. Tuesdays is about our client experience, right? In the home. Every Tuesday is training in the home.
And it's
Every
the same training all 3 times?
Yep, and we just on a rotation. It never changes. We just keep going through it. Wednesdays is all technical training, right? So HVAC one Wednesday, electrical the next Wednesday, plumbing the next Wednesday.
So even if you're a plumber, you have to listen to the HVAC training?
No, you only sit in on your trade.
Oh,
you
okay.
can sit in if you want to. Like if you want to gain knowledge, you can sit in, but you're only required to sit in on your trade. And then Thursdays is high five training, and that's where we go over our systems, how to turn in payments, how to request time off.
And some of that feel like redundancy or like repetitiveness, like here we go again. Like I have to say this again.
100%. But that goes back to your managers have to understand that everybody learns differently. True. Right. So last week I may have read the system. Maybe this week we're going to interact and do the system. Right. So like that's where once again you do find a way. You find your managers who are going to be the people who are going to be in front of the room really quickly doing this.
How often do you role play, like the quote unquote traditional role play style?
We role practice about every other week.
Okay.
Because we follow a 12-step process in the home that we expect our technicians to hit. And we role practice roughly about 7 of those steps involve role practicing.
And that 12-step process is how long of a time period is that? Do you feel like?
It's a 12-week training. It usually takes 12 weeks. We usually do 1 week per step. Right?
No, I mean like in the home, do you have like you should be at this house for 2 hours, or you should be at this house for
one KPI we track that not a lot of people track is a time to quote. Right. So we track how long from when they arrive at the job until they build their first estimate.
Okay.
And we expect that to be at least 30 minutes. So like we expect there to be at least a 30-minute conversation before you even start building options yet. Right. So
if they go out there and they see as a pop capacitor, as obvious as a pop capacitor, they still need to go through the rest of the system and have a conversation with them and everything else.
And so that's one of their KPIs that's up on their board that they can see every day is their time to quote. And so we track that. And if you're not above 30, then you go on call by call management essentially. So that way we can coach you through on how to take more time.
Okay. So you do in-house call by call?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's cool.
So we also use Rilla as our ride along function as well.
Well, that's a great segue because literally I was going to ask, because one of the things that Tersh and I have been focused on a lot, as you can probably see by some of the partners and stuff that we have on the side, is AI and automation. And we teach other people how to bridge those things. Like the AI tool is not necessarily teaching so much on those, but it's more so teaching on the automation side, because most people, they use AI, but they really want automation. They want to remove things from their plate so that this thing happens on autopilot, so they can move on to the next thing. What tools is, you're scaling, about 15-ish million?
Yeah, we'll do just under 15 this year.
Okay, so about 15 million, a company your size that's growing, what kind of tools are you looking for when it comes to, like, let's talk about AI specifically, I guess. And then what tools are you using that have really helped you?
We are very much a company of change, right? Like I believe that
the only constant is change.
Is all the time, right? Like we'll even do stuff like, we'll just change the call center desk orientation every 6 months or so, just to change the call center, just so it feels different. So like we're heavy in AI, right? We use Rilla, we use Chirp, we use Dispatch Pro and Service Titan. We use Chat GPT for meeting breakdown. We believe that you need to be in AI, right? But Rilla, Chirp have been 2 massive game changers for us, because when we only had 5 or 6 techs, it wasn't hard to ride along, but when you grow at 67% like we did this year, there's no way to ride along with everybody. So Rilla has been massive with us being able to continue to keep the production and the standard of what High Five expected, with being able to grow at 67%.
Did you have one of your managers that manages the Rilla, or do you have like one for each trade, or how does that work?
One for each trade, right? So, so pretty much service manager of HVAC. The only one that has multiple is plumbing, because plumbing is bigger than the rest, so it has a little bit more managers in it. But yeah, they go in there. They're in there every day. We've uploaded our own kind of standard into their AI, so it even tracks high five pictures now, right? So it'll tell us if the technician asked for a high five or not. So it's really, it's been a game changer for us to be able to confidently grow and know that our standard's still being met.
Did any technicians give any pushback from using Rilla?
He smiled as soon as you asked that
question. We lost one tech when we rolled it out, and it was because of why you would think, because they thought we were going to use it to spy on them and to try to get them in trouble, when in all reality, it was just to make them better. But because we have such a culture of change, like everybody kind of just says, oh, Levi's doing something else now, I hope it works. Like, it's kind of like
that crazy dude that sits in his
Crazy
office.
Levi.
What is he doing now?
right. But what's crazy about it is that one guy that did leave, he ended up coming back 6 months later. So
We did.
Oh,
technically we didn't lose anybody for it.
Okay.
interesting.
But yeah, it was some, before they started to do like the automatic recording and stuff, naturally you were going to have problems with technicians hitting record and
Yes.
doing those things, right? But now that since they've done the automatic record with Service Titan, it's been, what I can say is you just have to know what to do with the information, right? If you don't know what to do with the
Sure.
information you get from Rilla, it's just going to be a waste of money. So like,
Yeah.
don't think it's going to solve anything. Rilla's not going to fix anything. It's going to give you information to fix stuff.
I think
If you
that's some
can-
of the tools. I think that's the big power of AI tools. Like Lace. Lace isn't for call centers, AI call analysis. But if you don't know what to do next, when you realize that your call center is not doing a great job, it's just a paperweight that's going to sit there and you're going to pay a lot of money for. But it's really just understanding, getting the data at your fingertips super quick. So people like yourself that want to move fast, or other business owners that want to move fast and have big visions, can do it quickly. We can do it so much more quick. I mean, think of it. 5-8 years ago, we had to listen to all them damn phone calls and like write notes and like put it in a spreadsheet and do the crazy things. Like literally last night, I was helping a client try to understand the difference between 2023 and 2024 with their campaign summary reports in Service Titan. I've done this manually in the past, and it's painful. It takes me a couple hours. I'm like, why don't I throw some chat? It just like dawned on me. I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think that. That wasn't my first thought. I don't know why. I'm like, I'm gonna throw these in here. I'm gonna have it
for
clean
like
it all up.
12 times a day, every day.
And then I'm going to have it, 2 columns. So 2023 revenue for that campaign, 2024, and then the difference. And it took me like 5 minutes. And I'm like, God dang, this is awesome. Because now I can get to the point of like, hey, client, this is what changed. So this is why maybe you didn't experience because he's trying to understand, he spent more money in marketing, but he only grew a little bit, like trying to understand where the disconnect is. And it allowed me to get to the disconnect in 10, 15 minutes versus 2 hours or 3 hours.
Right.
And that's just one client. You can, if you do that for call analysis or the technician analysis with Rilla, you can do hundreds of these things like instantaneously.
Another thing I like about the AI function of a lot of these things, right? Like, let's just, for example, use the ride along function of Rilla, right? If I go ride along with a technician and I'm riding in the truck with him, and after the call we get in the truck and I say, man, you were responding way too fast. You were talking way too fast. They're going to think I'm just an asshole. Like, they're just going to think I'm a bad person. They're going to be angry with me. But when it's a robot telling it, there's nobody to be mad at. It takes that emotion out. All I'm doing is giving you the information. This is saying you're responding too fast. So I think you'll get better results if you slow down. It takes that emotion out of it. And that's what I love about the AI is it's now not me calling you out. It's a robot, and you can get mad at the robot, but you can't get mad at me.
Do y'all have it turned on or set up so that it tell the technician what the best technician is doing to win?
Yes, it'll show them like their conversation. So if they get a good score in our mark, it'll share that one with everybody. So that way everybody can see what this technician did to get like good marks through Rilla on that. So, but once again,
I was talking to someone, it's been about 6 months ago now, and they have one salesperson that is our comfort specialist that is just doesn't follow the process, doesn't do the script, is a rebel almost, but sells 150 times or more than, or 150% more than the second place salesperson. And so they're like, we just excluded them from the whole Rilla thing. Like, we didn't want that being shared because he has some really great habits, but he has some terrible habits.
Right.
And I don't know how it works for him, but it works. But if anybody else other than him did it, it wouldn't work.
Well, like that goes back to that top producer, right? Like, and this is like me as a business owner, I've always looked this way, right? Like, your top producers are going to do it their way.
Yeah.
Like, they're just going to do it their way. You're not going to be able to change them. They're going to do it your way. You just have to decide if you're going to deal with it.
Yeah, or
My
risk
fun-
losing them.
Right. My biggest thing is I want that middle 50% of everybody to be consistent.
Yeah.
Right. Like I know I'm going to have my top producers that aren't going to follow what I want. But if I know that middle 50% is going to 97% do what I ask, that's where you can get that production and that growth. Right. Because I never send a new hire with a top producer because I know that they don't do the things exactly the way I want. I'd rather send them with the guy who's middle of the pack, but I know just does it.
They follow the steps. They follow the process.
I think that's where you can move from the wall you're at right now. Say it's the $5 million a year wall to going to 10 million is you have to be okay with your top and bottom producers being top and bottom producers. Like you cannot bring everybody to the top producer because there are tools in your toolbox that are really good at handling warranty calls. They're terrible at selling a new job every job they go on. And then there's other ones that are just not going to kill it on a warranty call. They're going to get 3 or 4 callbacks. But if you put them in front of a new client that has a 15-year-old system, they're going to kill it. And learning the seats of the bus, like, for a while there, I was even taught this in the best practice groups that every technician should be able to close at this rate. Every technician should do this. Everybody, or else you need to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. And I probably put pressure on people that I shouldn't have because I followed those best practice ideas. When in reality, I should have just let them stay where they are because they were killing it. Doing warranty claims or whatever it was that they were doing.
That's a key in your business is like with us, right? Like I have a technician who kills it. He gets the most high five pictures, but he's not ever near the top in revenue. Never. Right. But he still gets shouted out for being the top high five picture getter, mm-hmm. right? So people can get other ways of victory other than always being the top revenue generator. Right. And that's the key. I remember when I first got into service and I saw the top service guy doing 50,000 a week. I'm like,
hey, wow!
I'm never gonna get. I can never do that, right? Yeah. But I knew that I could go get high five pictures, or I knew I could go get reviews. So if they had a review contest, I knew I can compete with every single one of those guys. Revenue, sometimes that's a personal belief, right? You got to get over that yourself, and so it's about making sure that people feel like they're winning, even when they're not the top revenue producer.
Yeah, it's easy for us to judge them by the revenue. That's the pretty number, mm-hmm. know. But there's so many times where you need the culture KPIs. You need them because if all you're focusing on is the numbers, you become the owner, the boss, the manager who is what they describe you as, and all they care about is the number. All they care about is the revenue. And none of us want to do that as business owners. I don't think anyways, but sometimes we come across that way if we're not careful.
Awesome. Levi, this was great. We went in a bunch of different ways, which typically happens. We start with one thing and like, that's a great topic. And then it's like, oh, what about this? What about this? But really appreciate you diving into this stuff. I think you gave a lot of value to anyone that watched or commented or is going to listen to the audio version. So thank you very much.
Awesome.
Where can people go to follow you if they're not already following you on social media?
Facebook, it's just High Five Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, Electric. On Instagram, Instagram is High Five Home Fix, and the same with TikTok. We're also on YouTube, LinkedIn. We're very active. It's pretty easy to find us, and we do engage with anybody. So if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me directly, just go to our social medias, and they'll connect you with me directly if you have any questions.
Man, Levi, we appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's fun.
If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Levi, reach out to Josh or myself, and we'll get you connected with their team. You'll give them a follow. If you aren't subscribed to us, make sure you're subscribed to us as well and give us a star or 5-star review. Not a 1-star, 5-star. 5 stars only. All right, Levi, we appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you.
Sweet, man. High five.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.